मदद किया था, बहुत सारे प्रोग्राम ऑर्गेनाइज किए थे, प्रीचिंग किया था। और वो जो फर्स्ट बैच थी जिन्होंने टेम्पल पहला रशिया में बनाया, उस बैच में माताजी खुद थी। उसके बाद में गए 30 से भी 25 से भी अधिक वर्षों से माताजी यूक्रेन में, उसके बाद में यूरोप के कई सारे देशों में और भारत में और बांग्लादेश में अपना प्रचार प्रसार करती है। कई जगह पे उन्होंने अपने गुरु महाराज की आज्ञा से, परम पूज्य निरंजन स्वामी महाराज, इनकी आज्ञा से उन्होंने प्रचार कार्य में बहुत बड़ा योगदान दिया है। और जब वो बांग्लादेश गए, और बांग्लादेश एक ऐसा देश है जहाँ पे जो हमारे गौड़ीय वैष्णव है, बंगाली वैष्णव है, अभी तक वो उसी ट्रेडिशन में जो महाप्रभु से चलती आ रही है। तो जब उनका अध्ययन माताजी ने किया, उनके साथ जब रही वो, तो जो वैष्णव एटिकेट होते हैं, जो गौड़ीय संप्रदाय का वैष्णव सदाचार होता है, उसके ऊपर माताजी ने बहुत गहन चिंतन अध्ययन किया और उसके प्रोग्राम्स और सेमिनार्स को पूरे विश्व भर में कंडक्ट करती है। तो हम माताजी को वेलकम करना चाहेंगे, अपना कीमती समय निकाल के माताजी हम सबके सामने यहाँ पे उपस्थित है। 3 बार जोर से हरि बोल बोल के, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल।
हरे कृष्ण। ओम ज्ञानतिमन्दस्या ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोपस्थं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकरमयं ददति स्वावदन्तिकं। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठभूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नमने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चातारिणे वंशकपटुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So first of all, I'd like to express my joy that I have the opportunity to be here and visit you and be amongst you all.
तो सबसे पहले मैं आप सबको मेरा उत्साह और आनंद प्रकट करना चाहती हूँ, धन्यवाद देके कि मैं कई जगह पे घूमी हूँ, लेकिन आप जैसे भक्तों के संग में आके सत्संग करना, आपके साथ रहना और सेवा करना, इसमें मुझे बहुत आनंद आ रहा है।
And I have to say, I feel very inspired to see how many of you are coming to this morning program on Sundays.
और मुझे बहुत प्रेरणा मिली कि आज रविवार के दिन आप कई सारे भक्त जो थे वो मंगल आरती में भाग लिए।
Actually, it's such a nice idea to make this Sunday program in the morning. Very good.
तो क्योंकि जब माताजी से हमारा बातचीत हो रहा था तो संडे प्रोग्राम मोस्टली आफ्टरनून इवनिंग में होता है, लेकिन हमारा मॉर्निंग भागवतम क्लास होता है। तो माताजी बोली कि बहुत अच्छा आइडिया ये कि आपने सत्संग जो है वो मॉर्निंग प्रोग्राम से ये भागवतम का रखा है।
So on my travels, I will use you as an example. I will tell everybody, yes, in Nasik the devotees do this program in the morning, and so many people come for Mangalarati, Guru Puja, and.
तो माताजी कह रही है कि मैं जहाँ पे भी पूरे वर्ल्ड में ट्रैवल करूँगी तो ये उदाहरण नासिक का दूंगी कि नासिक के भक्त बहुत सिंसियर है, इतने ठंडी में भी सुबह मंगल आरती के लिए बड़ी संख्या में आते हैं।
So you will become famous all over the world.
और आप सब लोग बहुत विश्व प्रसिद्ध हो जाएंगे।
Yes, because I go to so many places, also Canada, America, Australia, New Zealand, so many places.
तो माताजी कई देशों में प्रचार करती है, ऑस्ट्रेलिया, कनाडा, न्यूजीलैंड, अमेरिका, सब जगह पे जाती है।
Yes, and usually people have the Sunday program in the afternoon, or sometimes so late in the evenings, you know. Oh, and then prasadam is at 9 o'clock in the evening, you know, not very good for sadhana, you know.
तो बहुत जगह पे जो सत्संग प्रोग्राम इस्कॉन मंदिर में जो होते हैं वो दोपहर को होते हैं या कभी कभी रात को भी होते हैं, और महाप्रसाद रात को 9 बजे बांटा जाता है, तो इतने रात को खाना भी बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है।
Yes. Okay, so let us turn to our topic of the false ego, our constant companion and troublemaker.
तो आज का जो शीर्षक है हमारा मिथ्या अहंकार, हमारा सबसे प्रिय दोस्त और सबसे ज़्यादा बवंडर करने वाला अपने जीवन में।
So of course this session will just be a little introduction.
और जो पहला सेशन होगा वो इंट्रोडक्शन होगा टॉपिक का।
because the whole seminar takes 10 hours without translation.
माता जी कह रहे हैं कि पूरा सेमिनार 10 घंटे का होता है बिना ट्रांसलेशन का. तो should we announce that how many need
Maybe give him some water.
warm water?
No, for you, Prabhu.
No.
Huh? You're already coughing and we're only starting, you know.
We will announce माता जी how many need translation. Let's see.
Okay.
Okay. तो कितने लोगों को हिंदी अनुवाद की आवश्यकता है अपना हाथ ऊपर उठाइए ताकि हमें पता चले. Oh.
Yeah, but it's actually not that many. Put your hand up again.
अच्छे से आप एक ही हाथ ऊपर करना.
Who needs Hindi translation? Yeah, I mean the majority understands English.
तो
Huh?
क्या करने का इशू होती माता जी?
Maybe we can have translation in the
हाँ
back
ठीक है
corner. Huh?
माता जी. जाओ ना माता जी. तो हमारे 2 ट्रांसलेटर रहेंगे पीछे, यशोमती माता जी और नादिया कुमार प्रभु. तो जो भी हिंदी अनुवाद चाहते हैं आप कृपया पीछे बैठ सकते हैं. आप बाकी के वक्त थोड़े थोड़े आगे आ जाइए, मतलब एक थोड़ा सेग्रीगेशन हो जाए. तो जिनको हिंदी अनुवाद चाहिए वो पीछे चले जाएंगे. सो यू कैन स्पीक विद फ्लो माता जी.
Okay.
10 hours we can't complete, but at least whatever time we have.
Yes, because then if I can speak English, I have double the time.
Yes.
You know? Yes. So then we can discuss a little more.
हाँ, तो जिनको ट्रांसलेशन नहीं चाहिए वो थोड़े आगे आगे आ जाइए. सारे माता जी और प्रभु जी आगे आगे आ जाइए. और जिनको हिंदी अनुवाद चाहिए वो पीछे चले जाइए.
Yes. So where's the translator sitting? Not outside of the temple
No.
room, right?
माता जी, that corner. माता जी.
Mataji's
Yeah,
that
that's
corner
it,
and
yeah.
Prabhu's.
Prabhu ji, I think they joined there only, माता जी.
Huh?
They are very less, na? They will join there only.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
नादिया कुमार प्रभु,
What?
कहाँ पे आप?
और-
आप कहाँ पे, वहाँ पे बैठोगे आप? हाँ
For
ठीक
the
है. प्रभु
man
जी
that's
इसके लिए.
there.
हाँ,
Okay.
he will do. ठीक है, वहाँ पे बैठ के आवाज आएगा ना आपका? हाँ ठीक है. तो
Okay, good. Yes.
सो माता जी का ट्रांसलेशन जो है वो लेफ्ट साइड पे होगा और प्रभु जी का जो है वो नादिया कुमार प्रभु करेंगे राइट साइड पे. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. और सारे भक्तों से अनुरोध है, अगर आपने मोबाइल फ़ोन लाया हो तो उसको आप बंद करके रख दीजिए ताकि वो डिस्टर्ब ना करे, ताकि क्लास के ऊपर फोकस रहे.
Okay. We are ready? Yes. Okay, good. So to begin with, let me share a few realizations which inspired me to give this topic of the false ego a little more attention. Like some of you know, we had a little holy name retreat yesterday, and I do like to conduct these holy name retreats. Usually we do it over 2 or 3 days, and I've been doing this for many years all over the world. And then at some point, I had this realization that unless we make some endeavor to dissolve and subdue our false ego, then our attempts to get on deeper levels of chanting, we can compare it almost with an elephant taking bath. Because we know elephant taking bath, as soon as he comes out, he takes the trunk, takes some dust, throws it all on his back. So that's what happens when we don't make some endeavor to work on our false egos. Because then we can spend so many hours trying to get to deeper levels of chanting, but then immediately we fall back into these false ego patterns of behaviors. And then we contaminate ourselves immediately again. And then we cannot really make progress. And as we all know, Mahaprabhu was saying, Trinadapi Sunichena. We chanted every morning, right? But very often this recitation of the Shikshastakam is also becoming a little mechanical, and we are not really deeply thinking and understanding what we are actually reciting, you know. So Mahaprabhu very clearly gave us this understanding that actually we can only get the benefit of the holy name if we chant it in the mood of being more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, and. So yes, these two endeavors have to go parallel, that we try to get on deeper levels of chanting, and at the same time, we also do some internal work to dissolve the false ego. And if we don't do this, then very easily, in the name of Krishna consciousness, we can do the opposite of what we really should be doing. Instead of subduing and dissolving the false ego, we can boost it, we can feed it, we can massage each other's false egos. All these kind of things are going on because Krishna consciousness offers a lot of opportunities to feed our false egos. So we have to be very careful that we don't miss the target of Krishna consciousness. And we may not even be noticing it. We may think we are doing the right thing, but we may not. We may be doing the opposite of what we should be doing. So it's a whole big topic. And actually, interestingly, the false ego works like this, that the bigger and more prominent the false ego is, the less we can see it. One may think it should be the other way around, you know? The bigger it is, the more we can see it. But no, opposite. And in this regard, I want to share a little story, a little humorous incident. There's one Mataji in Europe. She has a very prominent and strong false ego, always getting herself into conflicts and miseries. So at some stage she was turning to me and sharing her frustration that she has so many conflicts in her life. And I was trying to help her to see what the problem is. So I said to her, and I was very careful, I said to her, well, you know, the false ego always gets us into trouble. And her response was very remarkable. She was laughing and saying, what? False ego? Come on, what's that? I don't have that. And I was completely shocked. I didn't know what to say. I thought, how is it possible if a person has such a prominent false ego and then laughing it off and saying, I don't have that? I was completely shocked. I didn't know what to say. And then all I responded was, I said, I wish I could say that about myself. That's all I said, nothing more than that. I wish I could say I don't have that. Yeah, I realized no use to say anything more, you know. Yes. But that's exactly how it works. The more prominent the false ego is, the less we can see it. And then as we become purified, then we realize, oh my God, almost every day it gets into our way. It pushes us to say and do things which we shouldn't say and do. But it is so subtle that we need some little purification to realize it at all and to recognize it. And also I remember another time I gave some little introduction on this topic in Vrindavan. And then also one Mataji who's been around for 20 years seriously practicing. She came up to me and she said, "Oh, thank you, Mataji, for giving this insights." And then she said, "Now I realize I have a false ego." You know? And she was saying, "I always thought this was just some philosophical, theoretical thing which has no relevance for me. But now I realize, oh yes, I have this." You know? So, oops. No mobile phones, please. Switch it off. Yes, so, and this was after 20 years of practice, you know? So we can walk around for 20 years not even realizing what is this false ego, you know? So that's why I like to talk about these things, hoping that maybe I save some of your time here by bringing some attention to this topic a little earlier, not only after 20 years. And then also, you know, and I'm not saying this wanting to criticize or something, but I'm the type of person I always like to observe and analyze and go to the roots of problems. And having been around for almost 40 years now, you know, you come across all kinds of situations. And very often I have been observing this, that a person maybe has some position, some title, and then a devotee, an authority suggests, or maybe somebody else should have this title and position. And if we were free from our false ego, then this would not be a problem, right? If we want to serve, if we identify ourselves with servant, then okay, fine. All I want to do is serve, you know. So I thought I can serve you in this way, but if you have some other suggestion, okay, I can serve in another way. So please let me know, how can I serve? No issue. But unfortunately, very often it's not like that, you know? And it becomes a whole big political thing, and oh my God, so much struggle and conflicts and you know? And then I was always scratching my head thinking, well, what is going on here, you know? The Shastra is promising that we become free from all the false designations and there will be detachment and all that. But then so often we see, you know, after many, many years of practice, there's still all these attachments there, you know? And all these things made me realize this topic of the false ego is such an important one. It should get some special attention. Yes. So much as a little introduction why I like to talk about this topic. And yeah, just for those who don't know yet, there is also a whole book available, because today we don't have so much time. But out there you can get the whole topic in book form. And I've had a lot of good feedback. People often say to me, oh, you are talking about things which not so many people address. You know, yes. Because, yeah, some people don't like to hear these things. The false ego doesn't like to be addressed, you know. And very often it flares up and so on, you know. Yes, so all right, let us begin by remembering. As we all know, the soul is covered by the gross body of earth, water, fire, air, ether, right? And the subtle body of mind, intelligence, false ego. There we have it. So false ego is the most subtle part of the subtle material body. And as we said, it is so subtle that we very easily identify with it and not so easily recognize that this is almost like some separate entity, which pushes and tortures us in so many different ways. So, and as we also know, the subtle body is actually accompanying the soul, from lifetime to lifetime. So we've had the same subtle body of mind, intelligence, thoughts, ego. We've had this for so many lifetimes, carrying it with us. There's so many impressions and information stored in the subtle body, so deep. And if we want to go back to Godhead, the subtle body has to be fully transformed and spiritualized. All the material elements have to be dissolved and replaced with spiritual impressions, spiritual attachments, spiritual desires, spiritual experiences. But this is a whole big thing. It's not so easy. It requires a lot of internal work, Yes. Otherwise, we have to do another round in this material world. So, that's why it is so important to understand how we do this work of dissolving all these material aspects of the subtle body, especially the false ego. And yes, the false ego already becomes prominent at a very young age. Already as a child, it makes its demands, I remember once I was visiting one family and their daughter was around 1 year of age, so she couldn't talk, but she could move and walk. So, and while I was talking to the parents in the lounge room, the daughter brought all her toys from her room. And I didn't really give it so much attention, But then the mother said, she's showing off her toys because you are here. And I thought, oh my God, That's when it all starts. Already at that age, showing off. My toys are so special. And because they're my toys, that's why I am so special. It starts already at that age. Oh my God. Yes, and then, I'm sure anybody who has children knows there's often so many ego battles, Recently, when I was in Australia, I was staying with one family. They have twins, and they're 3.5, one boy, one girl. So many ego battles. My thing, and oh my God, Yes. It's amazing, how the false ego kicks in at such young age, Yes. So basically, the false ego makes us think that we are something which we are not. That's in essence what the false ego does. Instead of understanding Jiva Svabhava Krishna Nityadas, that's our eternal position, servant, we think ourselves to be something else, right? And we accept all these designations and we identify with them. So, and as, the conditioned soul goes through life, we accept so many more identifications. It starts with, yes, I'm a boy, I'm a girl, so then I'm a good pupil, I'm not such a good pupil, so then I'm a student, I'm a medical student, I'm a economic student, this, that. So then maybe, we get married, So I am husband, I'm wife, I'm father, I'm mother, and. So now I'm engineer, I'm a doctor, and. Even when we join Krishna consciousness, it doesn't stop there, right? It continues there also. I'm a brahmachari, I'm not a brahmachari, and I'm the Sankirtan leader, I'm the Bhakta leader, I'm the head pujari, and. So many roles we are playing, no doubt. We are playing so many roles in life. We may have some role at home, another role at work, then at the temple we have a different role. So they are all roles we are playing, like we are wearing different caps, right? But our problem is we are identifying with these caps. We think this is me. So what do you think? Why do we identify with them? Let's be a little bit interactive. What do you think? Any suggestions? Raise your hand. Why do we identify with these roles? Why don't we understand they're simply caps we are wearing? You know, why do we identify with them? Yes? Huh? We are thinking we are doing it. Yeah, not wrong. What else?
Because of association of people, means in temple we associate with devotees, so we act as a devotee. In the material.
Okay. Any other suggestion? We lost our permanent identity. Yeah, it's all true. But what makes us attached? Where does attachment come from? Yes, because we are enjoying these roles. They give us some sense of importance, right? Some little recognition. I am somebody here. You know? Yes. So that's why we are identifying with them. And that's exactly what the false ego is demanding. The false ego is demanding to get that gratification of being somebody of importance. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Right? So just as a little exercise, just for 1 minute, I want to ask you to turn to your neighbor. You all have a neighbor. You turn to your neighbor and you share with each other your favorite hat. Your favorite hat, you know, your role, your designation, which is so dear to you that giving it up is worse than death. Right? So quickly, just for 1 minute, just so we become a little more conscious here what kind of hats we are attached to. So 1 minute, share with your neighbor. Which hat is so dear to you that giving it up is worse than death? Come on, quick, share. I'm not hearing anything, just share something. There should be some sound coming here. So quietly, they're sharing. Okay.
ये रॉन्ग पार्किंग किया है बाहर मंदिर के बाहर MH15 6098 और 9822 HU 9822 ये दो रॉन्ग पार्किंग है 6098 और 9822 तो जिनका भी है वो आप वहाँ से हटा दीजिए.
Okay, Guru Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Yes, so I hope we become a little conscious of our favorite hats. You know, For ladies, very often, I am the mother. As a pretty, deep attachment there. Sometimes we can see, even when the child is 40, they still have to correct and instruct and control, But no, when the children are 16 plus, a mother has to take off this I'm the mother's hat. And then we put on I'm the friend hat. Very important. Not so easy, because mother-child relationships so close, so, mother sacrifices so much for the child. So that identification, very strong, but we have to give it up. So, for the men, I hope I'm allowed to say this, but the I am a brahmachari hat is a pretty big one. Yes, pretty big one. Yes, for some brahmacharis, this is worse than death, to give up this hat. But let's understand, the goal of life is not to be a brahmachari, The goal of life is pure bhakti, I mean, I will not elaborate more on this now. In the False Ego book, I'm elaborating a bit more. And I remember once I was giving a seminar over several sessions in Simhachalam in Germany. Nice big community at a festival. And there was a whole group of brahmacharis there, And then 1 year later, one of them came up to me and he had changed ashrams. And he was saying to me, that seminar made me realize I'm just brahmachari because of my false ego. Yes. And I realized maybe better for me to be honest and change ashrams. Yes. And now he has a child, and he's happily practicing, fully involved. Yeah, but it is a very humbling journey to give up this saffron cloth. I'm not preaching to you all here. Otherwise, you will tell Krishnadan Prabhu, this Mataji, she should better never come again. She's telling all us brahmacharis here to get married. No, I'm not saying that. But yeah, it's good to be a little introspective, and to look, is this just my false ego thing here? Or am I properly situated, like that? Good. Yes, so naturally, if we think ourselves to be something which we are not, there has to be a lot of anxiety coming along, right? Oh my God, yes. Because we always have to, convince everybody that we are something which we are not. So in that situation, we cannot be peaceful. Definitely not, We can imagine we are a servant at a king's court. So, and then one day we proclaim, so now I am the king. Whew, so much anxiety, What if people realize I'm actually not the king? And how can I convince them that I am the king? And oh my God, it would be a nightmare, right? Yes. So, and then after a while we say, it was just a joke. I'm actually the servant. Oh, thank God, we are relieved. We don't have to pretend to be something which we are not. Biggest relief. And that's actually, what everybody out there in the material world is experiencing. So much anxieties and fears and mental tortures, trying to be something which they are not. And then as we come to Krishna consciousness, You know, all I have to do is serve. What a relief. So I remember when I came to Krishna consciousness, I really felt this relief. Oh, finally, I don't have to impress other people and all this. I can just be a humble servant. Oh, so nice. But then very easily, it all starts again in Krishna consciousness too. You know, that we try to be something which we are not, and oh, the whole anxiety starts all over again, you know. So basically, we can understand as we become free from the false ego, which is a very gradual journey, gradual process. So as we subdue and dissolve the false ego, proportionally, we become peaceful. Yes. No other way. No other way. Yes. And in the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada gives this nice analogy, saying life in the material world is like a nonsensical stage performance. I really like that one. Nonsensical stage performance. It's a crazy circus, you know? And every lifetime we can imagine a performance on the stage. So, one lifetime, I'm Indian man. Oh, so many important things I have to do. So busy, 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 running. We're really taking it in, identifying, oh my God, you know. And then death comes, curtain closes, show is over, it's all finished. And then next lifetime. So now I am a woman in Germany, running. Again, we're taking it all in, we're identifying. We are so important, so many important things to do, so busy. So then again, death comes, curtain closes, show is over, you know. And then maybe next lifetime, we are a dog in Sweden, wow, barking. So also the dog has a subtle body, a dog's mind, dog's intelligence, dog's false ego, definitely, you know. Yes, dogs have quite a strong false ego. They're barking, biting. This is my property, my kshetra. I have to defend this, you know. Yes. So, yeah, like that it goes lifetime after lifetime. Nonsensical stage performance, you know. So that's exactly what the false ego entangles us in. Yes. Yeah, so how long do we go? Huh? I can talk for hours, so you have to give me a time limit. 10. Really? I thought 10:15. Somebody. Okay, good. Yes, so that's how it goes, you know, nonsensical stage performance. Cannot be peaceful in this situation, you know. Actually, we can say all these, you know, inner battles we lead, it's all the false ego pushing us. Whenever we find ourselves in the situation where these monologues or dialogues go around in our head in circles, right? You know this feeling? Or is it only me who knows it? Yeah? And something goes around and around and around and around in circles. And you just can't drop it. You can't set it aside. Guaranteed, false ego is taking us for a ride. Yes. All these situations that, oh, he said that and I said that, and actually, how could they treat me like this? And, you know, so false ego is pushing us, torturing us, demanding this this gratification that we are right, we know better, and, you know, yes. So it's good to know, good to identify the topic, what the problem, you know. Even in chanting, in japa, when our mind is disturbing us, actually, once we understand a little more how this false ego works, we realize that behind the mind is actually the false ego. And the false ego uses the mind and intelligence as tools to harass us. So, yes, next time when you chant, you pay some attention to this and you try to analyze a bit. And then you will actually discover that it is not only the mind, but behind the mind is the false ego. You know? Yes, yes. So like this, you know, or in married life, my God, you know, it can be a battlefield for false egos. You know? Yes. Who is right, who is wrong, who knows better? Just see, I told you, didn't I? And all these kind of remarks. It's always false ego. My God. Yes. We can spoil our whole married life and family life just by these false ego battles, you know? And because I'm giving all these seminars, often people come with their marriage problems, and often people say, I don't know why we are fighting over such stupid little things. Well, I know. It's the false ego. Yes, we are giving in to the false ego's demands of trying to be right and establish our superior position and. You know? Ah, yes. But people don't identify it. You know? Yes, they don't realize. Yes. Yeah, so that's why, you know, it's important that we hear about these things, so we become more conscious. Because Prabhupada said, before becoming Krishna conscious, we have to become conscious first. And we are just so unconscious, usually, you know? We're just floating through our day, through our life, not even analyzing and introspecting, why am I saying this, why am I doing this, you know, so covered, you know. So first of all, we have to become conscious. Confirmed out there. Yes, so now I would like to discuss a little bit one verse from Bhagavad Gita, which is very insightful in connection with this topic of false ego. So this is the verse 1858. So it says there, practically Krishna gives us two options how to act. So Krishna says, if you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. Option number one. And that sounds pretty promising, you know? If we just become conscious of Krishna, we will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life. Wow, amazing. Right? So what does it mean being conscious of Krishna? It actually means we act from this platform of servant. Jiva Svabhava Krishna Nityadas. That is my position, which of course does not mean, I hope we didn't misunderstand this, that we shouldn't accept titles and positions. No, of course we have to, for the sake of, you know, getting things coordinated and organized, but we shouldn't identify with them. Always remembering, I am simply a humble servant. That's all I am, you know. So, and becoming conscious of Krishna doesn't only mean that, but it also means that we follow his instructions, his recommendations, Vaishnava etiquette and culture, we may not have the time today to show and understand how Vaishnava etiquette and culture is our saving grace in regards to the false ego and in so many other regards, you know. Yes, but anyway, so that's what it means to act in consciousness of Krishna, that we understand our position, we follow his instructions and recommendations, right? So, and then we can cross over all the obstacles, you know, like we have this understanding that life in the material world is like an ocean of miseries, you know. We are drowning here in the ocean. So this ocean shrinks to the size of a hoof print of a calf filled with water. We have that nice analogy in the Bhagavatam, you know. So if you imagine you go for a walk, stepping over a hoof print of a calf, not even a cow, but a calf filled with water, no big deal. You don't even notice it. So that's what happens, you know, if we act in consciousness of Krishna, that this ocean of suffering shrinks to the size of a hoof print of a calf. Amazing. So then the option number 2, Krishna says, if, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. So, as we said, this is what the false ego does. It blocks the ears, it blocks the intelligence. We can't hear, we can't understand Krishna or his devotees, you know. So that's what happens if we act through false ego. And we will be lost, sooner or later, at the very latest, at the moment of death, where we have to do another round in the material world. But usually so much earlier already. Because yes, this false ego always creates miseries for us, you know, yes. Yeah, so this is quite profound, and we can actually really capture this essence of this verse, that if we just accept the position of servant, this actually offers all solutions to all difficulties we may be having in our relationships and so on. So it's a very simple and practical point which I always keep in the back of my mind. If I find myself in an unpleasant situation, I try to make these 2 steps back and ask myself, where am I standing here? Am I humble servant? Or am I trying to be master, controller, enjoyer, and? And if we're a little introspective and we're a little honest, then we realize, I'm actually trying to control here and enjoy, you know. But if I'm just accepting the position of a humble servant, it all falls into place. Yes, it really works like that. Let us take a little practical example. Let us imagine we are a preacher and we are scheduled to give a lecture somewhere. So, and we prepare ourselves and we get all fired up. So, and then a more senior visiting preacher comes, and then somebody approaches us and says, maybe we should invite him to give the lecture. So, if we are humble servant, will not be an issue, right? We will say, yes, of course. All I want to do is serve. So I can either serve by speaking, or I'm more than happy to serve by hearing. No issue, right? But if we are attached to enjoying, I am the preacher here, and I already prepared and everything, and it's not fair, then it becomes a whole big thing, and we get offended, and, yes. So, just as a little example, how really being a servant offers the solution to all the different problems and tensions and miseries, But it requires a little introspection, Sometimes we cannot even see these things. So sometimes we need some help with these things. And that's why mentorship is so important, having a counselor. I have a book on that topic too. I will talk about it a little later. Yeah, so especially in regards to a false ego, very important that we have a senior, more experienced, well-wishing friend where we know this person has no other interest except helping me in my devotional journey. No matter on which level of advancement we may be, we need such a person. Even on the highest level of advancement, we need such a person even more than, because the more advanced we become, the more heavy the tests are that Krishna throws in our way. And if we don't have such a trusting, confidential, well-wishing friend, we may be lost. Yes. Anyway, so now getting back to this verse. This verse also makes it very clear that there is two different motivating forces in life. Yes. There is this motivating force of the false ego, which definitely everybody in the material world out there is running on. And because actually we can say material life is all about feeding and expanding the false ego, becoming famous, becoming prominent, showing off. The more expert we become in showing off, the more successful we become in material life, right? Yes, especially now through internet. Any fool can become world famous overnight just by posting the most ridiculous, pictures or whatever, Yes. So, all this modern technology really facilitates this feeding of the false ego. Yes. That's why I like to call Facebook, I like to call it ego book. Yes, just looking what ridiculous pictures some people post of themselves, The women all with the hair out and like this and that, and and the men have their ways to show off. Oh my God, just looking at it, I don't want to be part of all this, I'm not advanced enough to get involved in these things, because it really affects the false ego like anything. Actually, in this regard, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he made this statement. He said to his disciples, as long as I am in this world, you should not put a picture of me in public. And if I remember correctly, it was even on the altar, Yes. There's actually His Holiness Bhakti-Vikas Maharaj describes this in his book about Bhaktisiddhanta, and he sent me the quote and I put it in my false ego book. Yes, so, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, this is not good for my false ego. Once I'm dead and gone, you may do it, but not while I'm here. So, of course, Bhaktisiddhanta doesn't have a false ego. He is free of false ego, Often people ask, by the way, so false ego, is there a real ego? Yes, of course, the true ego is Jiva Srupa Krishna Nityadas, servant. You know, that's the real identification. I'm tiny, insignificant servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. That's the real ego. So, Bhaktisiddhanta is firmly established in that real ego. But why is he saying this? For us. For us. And sometimes I'm wondering what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would say about Facebook. I'm sure he would have a lot of things to say about it. Yes. Because putting your picture in public, this feeds the ego. And then looking, how many likes do I get? How many clicks? Oh, only so few. I have to come up with something better so I get more clicks. You know? Oh, my God. Terrible, terrible. Yes, I mean, let us understand things more deeply. You know, if we want to become true Vaishnavas, we have to understand things more deeply, and we have to avoid all these things which create obstacles for our spiritual development. You know? Yes, yes. These things create serious obstacles. Serious obstacles. So we have to be very cautious what we invite into our life. You know? Yes. We shouldn't fall into these traps that Maya is sending us. Like Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj is saying, or he likes to say, Maya has gone high-tech. Right? Maya has gone high-tech. High-tech, high technology. You all know what high-tech is. You know better than I do, you know, because I keep away from all these things. I don't even have a mobile phone, believe it or not. I travel all around the world without a phone. Yes. Sometimes people think I don't have the money to buy one, you know, and they want to buy me one. No, please, it's not a question of money. I could buy one if I wanted to. I could buy so many, but no, I don't want one, you know. Yes. Yes, because this phone, such a distraction. My God, you know. Yes. I don't want to have this. I have a laptop, of course, and I communicate through email. But email, you know, I can decide when I answer, you know, and, well, sometimes I let people wait for a few days, and sometimes I immediately respond, you know, so there I can control better, you know, what I want to respond to, you know. So, but phone, oh my God, you know. WhatsApp, I would go nuts if I would be on WhatsApp, you know. Oh. Yes, so we have to be very, very careful what we invite here into our life, you know. Yes, so material life is all about, you know, becoming famous, this false ego motivation, you know. So let's get back to the verse. I was making a little excursion there. So, yes, let us look at these two motivating forces. First one, the false ego. I want to become a doctor, a lawyer, and this and that, and yes, I will become a very important person in this world. False ego motivation, you know. And as we know, mode of passion always starts very promising and rosy, and it ends in distress of some kind, right? Yes. So that's the false ego motivation. So now, because, you know, Kali Yuga, this false ego motivation is so bombarding us from all sides. And I mean, many of you are out there in the working world, so you have to battle with all this, you know, every day. So therefore, very easily we may think that this is also the path to success in spiritual life. But it is not. It is not. You know? The path to success in spiritual life is all I want to do is serve. That's my, condition. That's my position. Servant. All I want to do is serve, 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 serve. With heart and soul, we give ourselves in service. And then Paramatma in the heart witnesses that. And Krishna personally arranges the right opportunities coming up, the right doors opening up for us, so we can make advancement. Very different approach. It's subtle, but it's very different. Yes. So, and I find this very important to understand, that this ambitiousness is not the right way to become successful in spiritual life. You know? Ambitiousness, this personal ambition, it contaminates. That's the false ego's power. You know, any good idea can be spoiled and poisoned if it is presented with false ego. I know better, you should listen to me, and I know it. You know, then nobody wants to listen to us. So also a good practical thing, we may have this experience that people don't like our ideas, they don't like to listen to us. Well, maybe, you know, we are presenting it too much with false ego, and that contaminates and poisons the whole idea. And then everybody will say, yeah, it's all right. And they go the other way, you know? Yes. So that's the effect of the false ego, you know? Yeah, so I find this very comforting also to know, as a devotee, we don't have to chalk out a whole career here in Krishna consciousness. I want to become a famous kirtaniya and a guru and a sannyasi and this and that. No, wrong motivating force. Oh, my God, you know, yes. If we just give ourselves with heart and soul in service, everything will be taken care of by Krishna. Yes, it works that way. I remember once when I was discussing this whole seminar in Mayapur. At that point, one devotee was saying, but Mataji, didn't you plan to become a preacher and an author of books and all that? And I realized, no, never. I never even could imagine anything like this. No, definitely not. Definitely not. But all I can say is, I tried my very best to give my heart and soul in service, no matter what it was. Yes, definitely. I tried my best to sacrifice myself in service. And then, yeah, Krishna recognizes that. And all the right opportunities come at the right time. Yes, at the right time. And especially in regards to preaching or writing, the order has to come from above. We may think we are such a fantastic preacher, but other people may have a different idea. Yes, there's nothing worse than, you know, pushing ourselves to the front there, and I have to lead the kirtan, and, you know, oh my God, you know, yes. Because it's all the false ego motivating force there. And that just poisons everything. Yes. Order has to come from above. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk about myself, hoping that you don't think, oh, false ego, she likes to talk about herself. No, but I seriously experienced this, yes, that at some stage I was, actually, maybe you don't even know this, I was married for 10 years, So I'm not one of these fanatic women who think that I shouldn't get married or something. So I used to look very differently when I was married, I was wearing very beautiful saris and earrings and nose ring and bangles and hair, of course, and makeup and the whole thing, believe it or not. I've been through it all. Toe rings, ankle bells, I had it all. Yes. So, but then my husband actually left Krishna consciousness. He left me, he left Krishna consciousness. He married somebody else and separated again, and I'm not even sure what he's doing now. But yeah, for me it was all perfect. These 10 years, I was married from 30 to 40, and that's exactly what I needed. And I always had this tendency to renunciation. Sometimes I was almost forgetting that I was married. Oh, okay, I'm married, yes. So anyway, so then when my husband left Krishna consciousness, I was revealing my mind to Narendra Swami, and I was saying, oh, I'm thinking maybe I'd like to preach a little bit. I was temple president's wife for 10 years, in that time we started a temple there in former Soviet Union. And I was always in the preaching mood. I was taking care of the girls. I was giving every week a lady sangha. But I was never sitting on the Vyasasan while I was married. I really felt this, I didn't want to compete with my husband. So even though devotees often ask me, oh, why is Devaki Mataji not giving Bhagavatam class? But I felt, no, not now, let him. And they were with makeup sitting on the Vyasasan. I mean, in the West, this is normal, but somehow I intuitively had this understanding, no, not now, Yes. So, but then when my husband left, I revealed my mind to Narendra Swami, and I said, oh, maybe I could do a bit of preaching. And he was jumping off his chair and said, you want to preach? Come to Ukraine. Yeah, that's how my humble preaching effort started. He was the one who really pushed me, And, okay, Ukraine, I was a little scared, and every time I met him after that, he was saying, so when are you coming to Ukraine? And I said to Maj, I first have to give a few Bhagavatam classes, maybe, just to practice a little bit. So, and then, yeah, so in other words, the order has to come from above, And even with writing also. So I started a little institute for spiritual culture, and I put these courses together. So then Shivam Swami said to me, you got your institute, where are your books? You have to write. Okay, I have to write. Oh my God, how am I going to do that? So yeah, so the order has to come from above, because preaching, writing, some little empowerment of the Lord and his devotees has to be there, Otherwise, what can we do, And that empowerment is not coming from the false ego. It's a different kind of empowerment, Yeah, very important to understand. So saying all this, maybe we have to balance it a little bit, because the false ego has also some little good part in it. Because at least it motivates us to do something, to get out of tamaguna. Right? Once I heard in a lecture, yes, false ego has to be given up, but not too quickly. Otherwise we do nothing. Yes. So false ego is giving some little motivation there, which in the beginning we need, because in the very beginning, in our neophyte stage, our motivating force of the false ego is so much stronger than the motivating force of serving Krishna and his devotees. Right? Yes, yes. So in the beginning, we definitely run on false ego motivation. But eventually it has to be, there has to be some shift. It's a gradual process. Let's say here is the fully materialistic mood of ego motivation. Here is the Vaishnav motivating force of all I want to do is serve, serve, serve. So in between, all different shades and grades and mixtures. So it's a gradual transformation. So, but we have to know, we have to get there eventually. We can't forever stay on the ego motivating force, Yes, and I mean, I don't know what it's like here in India, but in the Western world, we can definitely see that, for example, that the temple cars, the cars belonging to the temple, are usually not very nicely maintained because, it's just the temple car. Everybody uses it and bashes it around and puts some scratches in. Nobody services it nicely, But then when it is my car, then I very carefully, take care of the car and service it and wash it and. So this is just an example to see that unfortunately, yes, when it is mine, we are so responsible, but if it's Krishna's, we are not so responsible, Yes, I'm sure you have your own examples also, And also in regards to family life, the false ego is a pretty important motivating force there. The I, me, and mine, right? This is what family life is based on, definitely. That motivates us to be responsible, dutiful, caring. My child, we are very caring, but other people still, So the I, me, and mine has a lot of good parts in it. But then in family life, the purifying duty is to give in charity. So there, that I, me, and mine gets purified. And of course, by the whole process of Krishna consciousness and also I often observe it with the ladies too, how much more inspired they become to serve when they're married. When they're unmarried, making a cake for Krishna now, no, I don't have time and I'm tired, no energy. But making cakes for the husband, yes, then they're flying, If there's a husband on the horizon there, then they do so many things, So, yeah, this false ego motivating force, it's almost like Krishna tricksing us into serving, Because family life, for us ladies, it's the best way to learn to be a humble servant. Best way, really. Best way. Because as a wife and mother, we have to serve, whether we like it or not, right? Yes. And that attachment to the child, that motivates us to serve, 24/7, right? That's what it means to be a mother. 24/7, we have to serve. How else would we be able to cultivate such a service mood, than being a mother? So that's why it is such an important thing that ladies are married, that they become mothers, and go through this whole purifying journey, Yes. Yes. Maybe, yes, actually, I'm looking, there's so many more things we can say. But in the Nectar of Devotion, in the 3rd chapter, there is one quite amazing statement that Prabhupada makes. And when I read this the first time, it really hit me. And Prabhupada, in very simple words, he says, as long as we have this desire to enjoy by becoming a more and more important person, either in the material sense or in the spiritual sense, cannot really relish the really sweet taste of devotional service. Wow, when I read this the first time, ooh, this really hit me. And I realized, I better give up this desire of wanting to become a more and more important person in this world. My God, I want to taste the real thing. I want to taste the really sweet taste of devotional service, not this, fake taste of ego gratification of becoming a more and more important person. Yes, so Prabhupada says these things, but very often we overread them and we don't even, understand what it really means, Yes, maybe I should, just to conclude, make one little point, which, well, in the Western world, it's a bit risky for me to make this point. But here we are in cultured India, so I hope I get away with it without people shooting me, So, yes, the practical path in daily life to dissolve the false ego is very different from those conditioned souls in men's bodies and those conditioned souls in female bodies. Yes. Man, woman, very different. They have very different natures, qualities, because according to Krishna's recommendation, they're meant to play different roles. But of course today, everything is completely mixed up and topsy-turvy and oh my God, Yes. So in any case, let us first understand, and I hope the men don't mind me saying this, man's body, not only the gross body is stronger because he's meant to protect and provide, but also the subtle body is also stronger. Especially also the false ego. Man's body comes along with a stronger false ego. Any ladies who are married, they probably have that experience, right? So, this is Krishna's system, because a man, according to Krishna's recommendation, he is meant to take charge. So that's why he has a stronger false ego, and that will motivate him to play that role, right? If it wasn't for this false ego, he probably wouldn't want to play it, but somebody has to play it. So that's why man's body comes with a stronger false ego. So now, a man taking charge and leading, we all know false ego immediately wants to be a part of it all. So in Krishna consciousness, all those souls in men's vehicles, in men's bodies, they have the challenge to learn to take charge as humble servant without this ego motivation. Yes. And that's not easy. This is a real challenge. That's why I personally feel being in a woman's body is a better deal. Yes. When I was married, I was always having these discussions with my former husband. What is a better deal, So, and we actually agreed both on this, that woman's body is a better deal. Because it's so difficult to take charge as humble servant, Very challenging, very difficult. So now, let me ask the men, what do you think? What exactly is the purifying challenge in daily life? How a man dissolves their false egos? What do you think? Any idea? Anybody who's thinking a little logically should be able to come up with the answer. Just describing that the men have a stronger false ego. So, what's the purifying process?
Appreciating the minute services and background services which are being offered to deities.
Appreciating the more humble services. Yeah, of course, it's not wrong.
In daily materialistic life, a man could overcome his false ego by sacrificing for his children.
Yeah, but you can still also maintain it. Well, maybe to save time, I better give you the answer. It's to cooperate with other men. Right? Yes. Because you imagine you have a whole bunch of men there, they're all equals, they all have good capacities, so they all want to take charge, so you're going to have some tension there, right? So for the man, the process is to cooperate with other men, especially those of similar influence. This is really difficult, because in the association of equals, that's where we show our true colors, whether we are humble servant or whether we say, all right, we are equal. Of course we are equal, but actually I'm superior, And we want to prove it, that actually I'm superior. I know better. No? Yes. So the cooperation amongst other men, and we see it in daily life. I mean, I've got no clue what's happening here in Nasik. I haven't been here long enough to know. So, but I'm traveling in so many countries. Practically in every community, there's so much, ego battles, power games amongst the men, Yes, yes. In some temples, I can clearly see this blocks everything. Krishna doesn't give, some mercy, some empowerment. A whole project can stagnate because of all these power games. Yeah, I often see it. Yes. Yeah, so that's the man's path. So now the ladies. Let me ask the ladies, what is the practical path for the ladies to dissolve their false egos in daily life? Any idea? Come on, ladies. Somebody must have some clue. Or you're too shy? Too shy to say something. Shyness is a good quality, by the way. Anyway, all right, looks like I have to come up. Or maybe any of the men has some idea? Maybe they have that experience in their married life. Well, let's ask the men. Any idea how the women dissolve their false egos? Appreciating the other lady. Well, but amongst ladies, there can also be a lot of competition and ambitions and all that. But no, that's not what I'm getting at. Any other try? Any other suggestion? Come on. Huh? What?
Jealous nature, living the jealous nature.
Live.
Living the enviness amongst the males.
never heard of that idea. No. Come on, no, huh? Now we're getting closer. The lady's path, and I hope I can say this here, the lady's path is to take the humble position towards the man. Yes. Not only the husband, actually towards men in general. Yes. Of course, this is really against what is promoted out there, you know. Yes, well, 269 in Bhagavad Gita, it says, what is day to the common person is night to the introspective sage, right? Yes. So, you know, what's promoted out there is 180 degrees opposite to what we promote, you know? Yes. So, yes, taking the humble and subordinate position towards the man, especially towards the husband. Ooh, there is strong statements in the Bhagavatam about this. And yeah, in the Western world, these statements are really creating agitation amongst the devotees, you know. And there I cannot even say these things. People will kick me out, you know, if I say these things. But yeah, there's heavy statements. There's one purport where Prabhupada says, by his constitutional position, a husband wants to be in the superior position. And by her constitutional position, the wife is in a subordinate and dependent position. And this has to be observed. Even if there is something, you know, even if the husband makes a mistake, Prabhupada says in that purport, still, the wife has to learn to tolerate it. And then there will be peace in the home. That's what Prabhupada says. So it's so heavy. But just to balance it, it doesn't mean that the husbands can here torture and abuse their wives or something. No, it doesn't mean that, you know. Husband is superior because he's meant to protect and care, not to torture and abuse and exploit and all this, you know. Yes, just to balance it a little, you know. Yeah, but no, I can tell you frankly, even me being in a woman's body as some kind of a preacher, which I'm trying to serve in that role, not identifying with a hat. Yes, even in that role, in that position, I experience this again and again. You know, if sometimes my false ego also gets the better of me, and immediately, it backfires, and my relationships with the men are not so harmonious. Yes. So it doesn't matter in which position we are. If we women want to have harmonious relationships with the men around us, we better understand this. Otherwise, there's always some friction and irritation and so on, you know. And also, we have talked about this ambitiousness, how this is poisoning, you know, everything. So also, we women are not meant to compete with a man and be ambitious. This, you know, this spoils the whole atmosphere and is completely against Vaishnava etiquette and you know, yes. So we have to be very careful that we don't get, you know, too much affected by all these Kali Yuga ideas and propaganda. We have to be very intelligent and look more deeply. And we have to know the Shastra. We have to have faith in Prabhupada's words, you know. Otherwise, we easily invite all kinds of moods into our life which destroy, you know, our cultivation of our bhakti lata, you know. So we have to be very careful. Okay, well, maybe we can see if there's any questions. Since it is a pretty practical topic, do we have any questions or comments, corrections, complaints, doubts, whatever? So, what? You're all flabbergasted, yes?
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for the wonderful class. The last point which you mentioned, that it can be so controversial, but as we see in our institution, what you were saying is truth. But in an institution, as the days are passing by and the modernity is influencing the principles within our institution as well. So this is going to be a great challenge ahead. So to preserve these principles and not hurting the sentiments of either gender, how would this institute go ahead? Because the more we speak such statements, it is shown in the light that is a male chauvinistic society. And this has always been
What did you say? The more we
profess this, the role of a man and a woman, the more we are blamed that this is a male chauvinistic society. And that how will we overcome this challenge in the future? Because whenever we try to say this, there's always a controversy, as you have also said. So how will we go ahead and preserve these principles of the balance between man and a woman?
Well, I'm also sometimes wondering, how things will go on, So, well, I guess we have to learn to present it in a tasteful way, And I mean, maybe it's time to show you this book, Spiritual Culture, Krishna's Divine System. This is all about this topic, all about this man-woman gender confusion topic. Yeah. And actually, I'm hoping it is a balanced presentation, but actually for those devotees or those people who look a little deeper, it makes so much sense. I mean, if a person is a little intelligent, they cannot deny it. They cannot deny it. It makes so much sense. Actually, the only entity which does not like these things is the false ego. Yes, sorry to say. Yes, definitely. No other entity. False ego rebels. Oh, what is this? And oh, we want to be in the front, we women. And oh. It's all false ego. It's all false ego. Nothing else. But people don't even realize, because it's all so subtle. Yes. So we have to boil the milk, Yes. We have to train our devotees. And I mean, even in the Western world, this book has received a lot of good feedback. It has saved so many marriages. You wouldn't believe it. Because this is one reason why we have this high divorce rate in ISKCON. It's around 60% divorce rate we have. Yes. And if people are open to it, here you will find the answers. Yes. And of course, it's often a whole heart surgery for the ladies, And also there, the men have to be a little understanding and compassionate and patient because, that propaganda is so strong and that conditioning is so deep that it's not so easy to, to make a whole paradigm shift there. And I mean, let me share this. I grew up in Germany, so actually I was by nature one of those women's liberation people there. That's how I grew up, of course. That was my conditioning. Yes. I remember when I was 4 years in the ladies' ashram in Sydney to get training. So there I was the one who made all the revolutions for the women. So that's that's the background where I'm also coming from, and that's why I can understand on what, on what wavelengths people are, because I was on that one too. I know it. But then through my involvement in Bangladesh, that's where I learned all these things, because for more than 20 years, I've spent quite some time there. In the beginning, 3-4 months per year, I was very involved there. And I made a few revolutions there too. But as mother, as mother, you can do anything. Oh, yes, yes. I didn't need any title or position, just mother. I introduced so many things there, yes. So that's over more than 20 years. That's where my whole worldview got put upside down. And I realized how civilized and cultured human life is meant to be lived. How our philosophy is naturally being lived. I mean, you should actually come one day with a group of brahmacharis. Bangladesh is paradise for brahmacharis. Yes, yes, it's really nice. Yes, there's so many holy places there. Yeah. I can connect you. I'm very well established there, and yes. And there, the brahmacharis, they're very prominent. They're running the whole show there, Yes. And because the ladies really play their role, it is so easy for the brahmacharis to remain brahmacharis. Yes, it's amazing. I mean, Dhaka temple has about 150 brahmacharis and bhaktas. It's only one temple. It's brahmachari loka there, hundreds of brahmacharis. Yes. So, and when I'm there, there's no Western devotees there, and I've been living with them, traveling with them, preaching with them, eating with them, everything. So, and over the years, everything completely transformed, Yes. So, and that's when I thought, okay, not everybody can go to Bangladesh and spend so much time there. Let me start some institute, let me put some courses together. People need education in this. Then I realized, well, the courses, they're all 15 hours, and, who has time to attend 15-hour courses? So then Shivam Swami ordered me books, so now I'm just trying and promoting these books so people read and, and understand and. Yes, but, well, this is my humble contribution here, to this whole topic. But it's controversial. Oh my God, yes. There's a lot of people out there who don't really like what I'm preaching. Yes. What to do, But it's all based on Prabhupada. Prabhupada says it all. My God, it's all in the Bhagavatam, So, what to do, Yeah, but it will be a challenge, definitely, because as Kali Yuga progresses. But see, also, I have noticed this trend also in the Western world, that some people, amongst the ladies also, there is a trend now to discover, the fascination of womanhood. They realize, just being equal to men and all this, that something is wrong here, and we are just having double the burden there of being a career woman and a mother and this and that, and and they realize, no, something is not quite right. Yes, I noticed that too, especially amongst the young generation. Yes, they realize this whole equality thing is not where it's at. But some also don't, And I'm almost thinking, because when I travel in the West, many temples, their main congregation is Indian-bodied. Like in Australia, Sydney, Melbourne, it's practically all Indian-bodied, Yes. Another topic, that this is actually not really what Prabhupada wanted, but anyway, that's the way it is at the moment. So, and there I have noticed that amongst the Indian devotees, there is a lot of focus on economic development. That's why they're going to the West often, usually. I mean, yes, let's be honest, So, and there it almost seems like they have to first go through this whole experience that being a career woman is ultimately not so satisfying. Like in Germany, we had that whole trend after the Second World War. There the women had to enter the workforce. So now in Germany, the devotees, they're not so keen to work. My God, they realize this is not the joy in life. They're sitting in some person's office all day, So there in Europe, you don't have this tendency, at least amongst devotees, that the women are so much into career and working and all this. But amongst Indian body devotees, it seems like they still have to go through that experience. It usually goes like that, The next generation, they will get the point, Yeah, so interesting to see all these tendencies in the world, But yeah, I guess we also have to be clear that not everybody who comes to ISKCON actually strives for pure bhakti. Yes. So, it's a question of boiling the milk, And at least those who are open, who want to hear, who want to get something deeper, let them get it. And those who don't want to hear these things, all right, no problem, And also in this whole topic of culture, I mean, the whole topic of culture is probably one of the most controversial topics in ISKCON, I think we can say that, So we have to learn to respect each other where we stand, Because again, 269, what's day for the common person is night for the introspective sage. So again, it's a whole spectrum here. Here's the day of the materialist, here's the day of the spiritualist. In between is a whole spectrum there. And it's a question of transformation. We have to transform. The whole process of bhakti is all about transforming, not leaving it all as it is and just adding a bit of, kirtan and prasadam or something. No, it's all about transforming, And some people want to transform, some people don't want to transform. Many people like it in the day of the materialist. They feel comfortable there. All right, no problem. But then please don't attack those who want to, transform towards the day of the spiritualist, So there should not be this attacking each other. Let's respect everybody, where we are standing on this whole spectrum and journey, And my approach is always, let's give insights into Krishna's system. And then everybody can make a conscious decision where they want to be. But if people don't even know what Krishna's system is, then very easily we take all these Kali Yuga nonsense ideas as the progress and latest thing, and we invite them in our life. So that's my approach, that we educate people what Krishna's system looks like. I'm not saying what a woman should do or not do, what a man should do or not do. No, I'm just showing what is Krishna's system. And then it's up to each and every devotee how close or far they want to be from Krishna's system. Like that. And there has to be respect. Okay, that person doesn't want to be so close to Krishna's system, but the person is still chanting Hare Krishna and worships Prabhupada and. So this attacking each other, this is what creates this whole tension, And after all, we say, Prabhupada built a house in which the whole world can live. So there should be a place for everybody. And that requires respect, you know? Yes. Okay, that was a pretty long answer. Any other question? Or shall we just leave it at that? Maybe let me say a few words about the other books. So that one was the man-woman gender confusion. I mean, really, I highly recommend you, and it's not, I hope I don't sound like, oh, I'm so full of my books or something, but no, the topic is so urgent. All you young fellas here, you are the future of ISKCON, you know, so you should get this right, this whole man-woman confusion, you know, and also for married life, very, very helpful. But no, it's not only a book for ladies, even though it is all about women, actually. But the men have to understand what is the role of the ladies, because we women play such an important role. And if this is neglected and misunderstood, whole human society goes upside down, you know. So then, sheltering relationships. So this is all about the importance of having a counselor. And I have heard you have a counselor structure here, but I dare say it's good to make it a little more clear why we actually can't make advancement without a counselor. When you read this book, you will be convinced, hopefully, that without having a counselor and eventually becoming one, we cannot make advancement. Because very often, if we don't have the deeper insights, then the mentorship program is just an external formality, you know, and people externally accept a mentor, but in their heart, they maintain their independence. They don't accept guidance. They don't accept instruction. They do what they want to do, you know? Yes. So we have to get some deeper understanding. And this is what this book is trying to offer. There's a whole chapter on the qualifications a person needs to have to serve as a counselor. So good to know what to strive for so we can serve effectively and care for people. And there's also a chapter on envy in it, how envy manifests towards seniors equals juniors. You know, so then we realize, oh, our envy is what blocks us from giving shelter and from taking shelter. Important topic. We have lost a lot of devotees in ISKCON because we have not understood the importance of mentorship. So just having a Diksha Guru, not enough. Definitely not enough. So then, the false ego, constant companion and troublemaker. So there is so much more in this book than what we could discuss today. Plus, there's also a chapter on chanting the holy name. There's a summary of a holy name retreat in it, because the chanting is very instrumental in dissolving the false ego. But we have to chant with the right mood, with the right quality of feeling in the heart. So there you will get that also, you know, how you can deepen your chanting. Very helpful. And last but not least, entering the Grihastha ashram. How to do it, how better not to do it. Because, yeah, I mean, in India we have the culture that marriages should be arranged, you know, by the parents or senior devotee. But often the knowledge is not there. You know, it's lost. And often there's too much emphasis given on caste, which now in Kali Yuga, this is not the main and foremost criteria that people are compatible. There's so many other criteria which are more important than just what caste we come from. You know? Yes. So, and also it shouldn't, matchmaking should not be just an economic consideration, you know, that parents look for a wealthy husband for their daughters, or parents look for a career woman for their sons so she can earn lots of money and pay off a bigger mortgage or something. You know, so these kind of considerations will not give that right compatibility. So it's basically like a handbook for matchmaking. Highly important for all the young people, fellows and ladies who are not married yet, for parents, for counselors, for senior devotees, for anybody who wants to help anybody to find a suitable partner. And also it's relevant for people who are maybe married already, but maybe they have not entered the Grihastha ashram. There is a difference, you know. Very often our married life is not an ashram, it's something else. Let's be clear on this. So if you want to get any of these books, these two are 350 each, only rupees, not euros or something, right? 350 rupees each. That's what you pay for a pizza in Mayapur, you know. So one pizza and you got a book, you know. And these two are 300 each. They're a little thinner, False Ego more heavy, so 50 rupees more. So they are 300 each. I will be out there at the book table. You can pay with cash or through your phone by scanning the thing there, you know. You know what I'm talking about. I don't have a phone, so I don't even know how you call it, but you all know. So please come and see me out there. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki, Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.
Har Grace Devaki Mataji ki jai.
You're trying to boost my false ego.
So Mataji has created explosions in our false ego. Just like in a stone mines, you know, they put, you know, RDX and all these things and they explode the big, big mountains. So same way Mataji, she has exploded the false ego within us by her explosive statements. And we know Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say, the sadhu means to cut. So very softly, she has cut the knots and she has made us realize that how false ego can be so subtle and can fool us and cheat us for our whole life by being a devotee. And the credit goes to you, Mataji, for such a wonderful insight into the world of false ego and why devotees are so miserable. And you have just enlightened about that. And just I just realized that, you know, having the degree of Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav is good. But to hear from the self-realized souls can give us better understanding of the Shastras and devotional service than, you know, having the degrees and, you know, having the good marks in that degree. So Mataji, we are very grateful to you for giving us these insights into this deeper aspect of spirituality. And as we know, on this planet Earth, on entire universe, Gaudiya Vaishnavism, one of the most refined and most deepest sadhana and upasana in the spiritual life. And what we can learn from Mataji, that how Gaudiya Vaishnavas and the Vaishnavism is so sweet, that having such a harsh truths of life, but with such a devotional and the spiritual mellow with that, and we can practice this sadhana given us by the Gaudiya Parampara. So we would like to thank Mataji by loudly 3 times chanting, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And for brahmacharis also, there's a big question mark, why we are brahmacharis. So definitely very important topic to ponder upon. So thank you, Mataji, by being a very kind mother to all of us. Hare Krishna. So आज गर्ल्स के लिए माताजी का 5 से 7 बजे तक प्रोग्राम होगा. तो जो भी गर्ल्स है, अनमैरिड गर्ल्स, ऑल 13 प्लस 14 प्लस. तो माताजी कह रहे हैं कि 14 वाले भी बहुत चलेगा. सो जो भी 14 प्लस है उन सबके गर्ल्स के लिए मीटिंग होगा, तो वो मीटिंग आप अटेंड कर सकते हैं. और उसके बाद में जो सीनियर माताजी है हमारे, उनके लिए भी माताजी का मीटिंग है, वो भी ग्रुप में आपको सर्कुलेट हो गया होगा. हरे कृष्णा. और टुमारो. सो माताजी का मीटिंग जो है वो कल है और टाइमिंग 4 to 6, तो 4 से 6 बजे तक कल का मीटिंग होगा, जो भी मैरिड है और गृहस्थाश्रम में या मैरिड और गृहस्थाश्रम इन बिटवीन जो भी है, आप वो सब मीटिंग में पार्टिसिपेट कर सकते हैं। हरे कृष्णा। तो बाहर बुक का काउंटर है माता जी का, तो जिनको भी ये बुक्स देखने, जो भी माता जी ने अभी बुक्स दिखा है